We're about to gush our hearts out. We're gonna gush our little butts off. We're gonna gush out of our little butts.
Oh, we should probably check our diets.
This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare.
It would be super embarrassing if we were having all this ridiculous banter while we were live, indeed.
I would be very embarrassed, but welcome to The Last Scare, a home for horror nerds to come and gush about their favorite feel-good genre. I'm joined at Cam today, and we've seen Evil Dead Rise. We've finally seen it.
We've seen it 3 times.
Yeah, oh my god, we've seen it 3 times already.
We've seen it 3 times, and we have been itching to gush.
Yeah.
We've been needing to pop our little itches and just let them gush out.
Yeah.
That was super gross, but...
Absolutely, just like this movie.
It's a horror podcast. There's a bit of gushing in the movie, indeed.
A bit?
There's lots of gushing within the movie, for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely. Oh my god, we finally saw it. I mean, we saw it opening night, but still, for me, I've been waiting for this movie for... ever?
About 2 years, right?
Yeah, about 2 years.
It was announced in like 2021.
Give or take 3, yeah.
And you were already like number 1 Raimi stan back then, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I've been a number 1 Raimi stan since Spider-Man, so it's just a part of my being. It's part of my DNA.
Since 2002?
Yes. That was
Did you see it back then?
Yeah, it's one of my first movies I saw in theaters.
Oh, interesting. Mine was Revenge of the Sith. Mine was actually Finding Nemo 2 years prior, but Revenge of the Sith is the one that really counts for me.
One of my first movies I remember seeing in the theaters was RV with like
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah, we went to one of those, it was in Florida. We went to one of those like dine-in movie places called Movie Tavern. Mm-hmm. That's one of my first memories. That's why I love Alamo Drafthouse so much.
Like a studio movie grill type of...
But better. Because I was a kid. I don't know if it's actually better. I think it is.
I feel like the dine-in experience would be better as a kid. It's studio movie grill sort of... It's not really for me because you got all the waiters like going back and forth and like I know they're all discreet and stuff, but I don't need to eat a big bowl of chicken Alfredo while I'm at the movies, which is my favorite meal. I love a big bowl of chicken Alfredo. However, I don't need it when I'm watching a movie like this that I'm excited for. It's overstimulating. A bit of news that we haven't covered on the pod is that our favorite Mia Goth
is
going to be in a Marvel movie. It's going to be in Blade, which is unfortunately on pause because of the writer's strike.
Which, like, writers should be paid.
This movie is... Yes. That movie's cursed.
It really is, but also Mia Goth is in it now, so, like, the casting's great. She's one of the main villains, too.
Oh, I wonder if Maxine's production is safe right now.
I mean, it's already in production. I already read it.
It should have already be written. They've had plenty of time.
We'll still get Maxine, and we'll still talk about it. Well, maybe we'll do a Ty West Bonanza.
Ty West Bonanza, absolutely. Talk about The House of the Devil. Talk about The Roost. Talk about...
VHS. He did a segment in the first VHS.
Talk about that movie with Ethan Hawke that's not a horror movie, but I still want to see. I think it's called... In the Valley of Violence or something like that.
I don't think that's what it's called, but I like that name.
Which sounds like At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft.
Someone's an H.P. Lovecraft nerd. It's me.
I haven't read that much... Oh, it's you? I haven't really read much Lovecraft. I just have a vague knowledge. I have the complete works. I just haven't actually ever really dipped into it.
You should Google his name. His cat's name right now. Google H.P. Lovecraft's cat name.
Oh, yeah.
Right now.
There's...
In a separate window, because you still want to hear us.
There's a lot of stuff that is pretty common knowledge about Lovecraft. But
is it common?
If you don't know, I mean, he was like super racist, super xenophobic.
Don't give it away.
But it's like, it's why his... works were what they were.
Yeah, I know.
Which is not a defense of those aspects of him.
I mean, like, we're not talking Lovecraft right now, but, like, for me, I think horror that's based in the writer's fear works best. And I love Lovecraft, even though his cat same as what I don't care. I think it's funny, personally. I laugh all the time about it because
Jayla just said Lovecraft has the pass.
No, I didn't know. No, his cat has a past. But we're talking about Evil Dead today. What we always talk about here around Last Scare.
Welcome to the Last Scare, a podcast about the Evil Dead.
Not Lovecraft.
That's a bit
or his cat.
That's a bit I've had under my belt for a good long time. Is Welcome to the Last Scare, a podcast about Evil Dead.
It is. We bring up Evil Dead all the time, and
it's like our big thing.
Yeah, I know, right? I have the chainsaw behind us too.
It's like our big. This is our biggest movie of the year.
Pretty much, yeah, it is.
In theory, this is our biggest show of the year.
It's not even in theory. This is like the show. Even though it's early into the year, this was like because it started off as like straight to streaming, and we found out because we were friends by that point. We found out it's going to be in theaters, and it was just like, yeah, absolutely. And then we saw it, and we instantly realized why it was put in theaters versus going straight to Hulu.
I cannot, or HBO Max, I cannot imagine this movie going straight to streaming. It is that good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
The fact that any executive thought that we should just throw this, requel, I guess?
No. It's
sort of a reboot, sort of a sequel.
I wouldn't even say it's a reboot. I really do feel like Lee Cronin went into this like, no, this is my own sequel. This is in this universe, and this is my thing.
And change the rules a little bit. It freshened it up.
Yes, I do agree with that.
There's a lot of freshening it up, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, I felt really I'm ecstatic about it. First and foremost, it was so special for me because it's not the first horror movie I saw in theaters, but one of the first horror movies I remember like having hype for and like the build up for was 2013 Evil Dead, and to share that with you with this Evil Dead is great.
Evil Dead 4, looking at the computer camera, looking at the camera.
Evil Dead 4.
Evil Dead 4.
Yeah. And now you're here for Evil Dead 5. It's so cool for me.
It's Evil Dead 5.
Yeah, it's so special for me to see someone else go through pretty much the same cycle that I went through when I first became like a huge horror nerd. Now, it made something that I was already excited about even more exciting, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I first watched these in maybe August or September. We watched through all of them in the course of like 2 days or something.
Yeah, I was like, no, you gotta see these. You're like, okay.
Yeah. And I had seen the original. I had seen Evil Dead 1 back in probably 2015 when I was, or maybe 2016, like after I graduated high school. And so I had a little bit of context for it, but I had never watched any of the rest of them. I had just like read their IMDb pages. I vaguely knew what Army of Darkness was. Yes, I used to read parent guides.
Me too.
When I was a kid and like read all the horrible details of movies that I wasn't going to watch.
Relatable.
And it felt
super
just
relatable.
like I got this little rush from it because it felt wrong, like reading all the bad stuff that was in a movie.
Yeah.
While still not having the guts to watch the movie. But I did watch The Evil Dead years before I was really into the genre.
You're welcome.
And I saw it in 2015, 16. I also saw The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, both of them, way back then. I don't know why it took me 24 years of living on this earth to become a horror nerd. But like I've seen a bunch of horror movies before I even met you. I owe it to Jayla to be a horror nerd. Absolutely. Or maybe for Jayla to help me realize that I was a horror nerd all along.
Yeah, when we first become friends, one of the first questions I asked you was about horror movies, and you were just like, I was like, nah.
I have our entire text conversation. Like I've never deleted our conversation, so all our texts from like July or whatever, it's still there.
It's hilarious. And now here we are.
It was one of our first texts. It was like, yeah, horror's not really my thing, but I appreciate like these 3 movies.
I know. I was like, okay, but look, have you seen Evil Dead?
Yes, I've seen The Evil Dead and nothing else. And now I've seen all of them. I'm super into all of them. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into ranking them.
Ooh.
I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to start with
Army.
I'm just going to ignore Ash vs. Evil Dead just because it's not a movie. And just because, for sake of simplicity, I'm just going to ignore Ash vs. Evil Dead. Number 5 in my ranking of the 5 movies.
Army.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah, I knew it. I think I know your ranking without even telling me. Go ahead.
It is funny, but it's not that funny. And Army of Darkness is kind of like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, one of my favorite movies of all time, in that it's a comedy set in medieval times, but it's nowhere near as funny. It's fine. It's the Three Stooges, but there's just one stooge and a bunch of boneheads, as Blake would say. I guess that's a reference to the comics. I feel like they don't ever call them boneheads in the movies, but Blake called them boneheads once, and I was like, okay. He's referring to some lore I don't know. Anyway.
There's a lot of lore going around.
Army of Darkness is the bottom of the 5 for me. What's your absolute bottom Evil Dead movie?
So after doing this, Road to Rise, I have to agree with you, honestly. And it's big for me because like Army of Darkness was my favorite for a while because I just love Bruce Campbell. And I love campy. But after like really sitting down and actually like taking the time to watch all of them back to back to back, because I just like throw it on randomly, I do agree with you. I feel like Evil Dead shines best when there's some kind of balance between the campy and the horror.
I think the balance should be more horror. I think Army of Darkness just doesn't even have a moment, not even a single moment that's a little bit scary. I think it's pure camp. And it is what it is, and it's fine. But upon our most recent watch, which was within the last couple weeks,
Yeah.
because we had to show it to my brother and his fiance. Shout out to Patty and Serenity.
I love you guys. Oh my god.
I hope they watch.
Me too.
You're like, no, they're not going to watch. So I guess that was my third time watching Army of Darkness.
It would have to be, yeah.
Because we watched it back in September or whatever. Watched it in March or whatever for the pod.
And we watched it with them.
Watched it again just to show them. And we watched the director's cut that third time.
Yes.
For the first time. That movie doesn't work as well.
Yeah, we watched the like extended bits, but we actually watched the extended cut. This most recent time, and I really do think the original ending is the best.
The original, yeah, it's two completely different endings. The original, even though it's definitely like the studio mandated version because the studio didn't like the director's ending, it's better, and in keeping continuity with Ash vs. Evil Dead, it's the ending they had to have.
Hail to the King, that's a better ending line too.
The whole sequence in S-Mart, it works. The problem is that they don't have any sort of transition between him leaving medieval times and him going back to 1980s S-Mart.
Right.
Because it doesn't show him like going through a rift or anything. It just kind of dissolve cuts. That's my big criticism of that.
I will say, before we continue, I will say that Evil Dead, there's not a bad Evil Dead movie. It's the most consistent horror movie, hands down for me.
Agreed.
Horror series, hands down for me.
My only thing is I would say all of the movies are 5 out of 5, except Army I would say is 4 out of 5.
So you're Star Wars.
And yes, my thing about Star Wars, and I am going to completely ignore the sequel trilogy because it's not real and it doesn't exist. Star Wars is episodes 1 through 6. People hate the Phantom Menace. My thing is, Phantom Menace is my least favorite of the 6. But, whereas the rest of them are 10 out of 10, that one is 9 out of 10.
Same thing for Evil Dead. Evil Dead is the Star Wars of the horror community.
I hope so. I mean, rather, I hope it's not an amazing 6 movies. I hope it's an amazing 7 movies.
I hope all movies are amazing.
I hope every movie's good. Like Blake says, I don't ever wish for any movie to be bad.
No, I fully agree.
Just gotta reference all little Blakeisms. I see you, Blake.
We miss you, Blake.
We hear you. We see you. This has been a really great 16-minute banter, and we haven't even touched Evil Dead Rise yet.
I know. We're just vibing.
Just vibes.
It's
all
groovy.
vibes.
It's groovy night.
Let's see. You got your notebook there.
I do.
Where are we starting?
Where are we starting? Let's start with the opening. I have to open my notebook.
Well, yeah, we'll start with the opening.
Yeah.
We've got this bit at the beginning.
Yeah, I will say, before you start, I will say that a lot of people were like, it's so, like, disjointed, and they didn't like the opening, but not just the, like, title, but I loved where we started.
I see that director Lee Cronin is clearly trying to work with the series and acknowledge what it is
Yeah.
and stay true to that while also subverting it, making it his own, and freshening it up.
Yeah.
Because you start at a cabin in the woods. Granted, it's a very different looking cabin in the woods. I think it's definitely a more modernized cabin in the woods. It's like an A-frame, just a triangle. It's a triangle cabin. I feel like this opening sequence was made because of the title of the movie. It's called Evil Dead Rise, which has all these sorts of meanings. It makes it seem like maybe it's a Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where it's like a new beginning.
He's stealing my theory, but it's okay.
But it's not. I mean, our theory is that it's not that. Is that it's Evil Dead 5.
Yes, that is true.
The thing about Rise is that it's a double meaning.
Yes.
You've got Jessica literally rising from the water, which is in the thumbnail, if you don't know who Jessica is. Because
in the first, 10 minutes
mention-
of the movie.
Yeah, in the first few minutes, they mention her name like a couple times, but you're probably not going to remember the name Jessica.
I will, because of Jessica Jones and how David Tennant yells Jessica. It's like, yeah, I'll remember her.
I don't remember how he yells Jessica, but I imagine it's very British.
Yes.
Jessica! I'm David Tennant! I'm Kilgrave!
That's not.
I'm gonna ruin your life!
I'm pretty sure.
That was so Australian.
We're gonna get, canceled by the entire UK.
I know, I don't...
Maddie Healy.
I have my good British accent, my Beatles Liverpool accent. And then I listened to the Weekly Planet / Caravan of Garbage way too much to where Australian has completely taken over my life. This is our most unhinged podcast episode ever.
Yeah, it's great.
This, we still barely touched the movie. Anyway, we've seen it 3 times.
We have another one planned still.
Yes, we have allotted 4 times to see it. That title card after this opening sequence was bonkers to see for the first time.
Yeah.
That was so insane.
I got chills.
My jaw dropped. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is already so good.
Absolutely. I fully agree. It just as soon as it showed up, I'm watching another Evil Dead movie. Even though Ash isn't there. This is happening right now.
We were excited for this movie, and it didn't let us down. It's that good. You've probably heard a bunch of hype already, but it's that good.
It really is. And, we've been let down by movies before. We've seen a lot of mid-movies this year already. Not a lot, but, we've been disappointed. And we've already had, movies that we weren't excited about be even, below expectations. So to have Evil Dead not only live up to the hype, which is rare for me, but just start out with that 1-2 punch was just it was magic, Nicole Kidman says.
I just realized we were ranking the movies and we didn't finish doing that. Army of Darkness, don't get mad at me. The Evil Dead.
Oh, okay.
The original. And that is only something I decided upon my most recent viewing, which was in the last couple weeks. After watching Evil Dead 4 again, I realized that Evil Dead 4 is my number 3. I had The Evil Dead above Evil Dead 4, and it's flip-flopped.
I think we have the same ranking.
Because we revisited Evil Dead 4, and we were like, this is really good.
It is.
I don't think it gets a lot of hate, but whatever negativity they give to that movie, it doesn't deserve it. It's really good.
When it first came out, I was an Evil Dead 4 defender.
And you have been for the last 10 years?
Yes.
Yes. I only saw it in the last year. I can say that I love that movie. I'm going to say 5 stars.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 stars, but A tier. Maybe not S tier.
To me, Evil Dead 4 was the the original Evil Dead 1, but just modernized and given more of a budget.
I have, and I haven't even explained this to Jayla yet.
Ooh.
But I basically have an 11-star system.
An 11-star?
It sounds like too many, but here's my explanation. You've got the tier system. You've got S, A, B, C, D, F.
Right.
Skip E. You got the 6-tier system that we did in our looking back on 2022 episode.
We did, yeah.
Link right there up in one of these corners.
Thank you to our editor.
It's me. We've got our 6-tier system, and then you've got the 5-star system.
Right.
And basically, I like to think that those are intermingled, because in between the 6 tiers, you have 5 lines, like layers, and so the 5 stars get crammed between them. So a movie can be A tier, but 5 stars, or a movie can be A tier, but 4 stars.
I get you.
Basically, I have an 11-star system, which is overcomplicated.
Right.
I'm going to shut up. Basically say Army of Darkness, The Evil Dead, Evil Dead 4, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead Rise. It's that good. It's my favorite. I thought so after the first time, but I've decided after 3 watches of all of them, this is my favorite. I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's that good.
That was my ranking. So I don't have much to...
Explain yourself. Say more.
Sure, I would love to. I love all of them for different reasons. But when I think about Evil Dead and like what I love about the franchise specifically, I think Lee Cronin really understood, but also decided to take his own direction with it that felt really fresh. But I do think out of the original trilogy, after like watching them a million times, I do think Evil Dead 2 is the strongest. And then Evil Dead 4 was such a moment for me.
Yeah.
A huge moment for me. I have to put it above the Evil Dead. Because, like, I still remember the first time I watched it. To this day.
I will not shit on The Evil Dead at all whatsoever.
No, they're
disrespect
all
to
great
it.
movies.
I feel like it just didn't quite have the means to be exactly what it was supposed to be at the time.
Because, I mean, it was like Raimi and his buds in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Doing this, like, passion project, you know, for The Evil Dead.
And it's absolutely great. It's a 5-star movie. But it's a 5-star A-tier movie.
Yeah.
I think Evil Dead 5 and 2 are the only ones in the S-tier for me.
Ooh.
I think for most people, Evil Dead 2 is the defining moment of the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
It's where it found its footing, as we always say. It's what we think of when we think of all the moments. I mean, he didn't...
Even had to chainsaw in the first one.
That's what I was going to say. He didn't have to hack off his limbs in the first one. His own limbs. And that has become such a defining thing, save for Evil Dead Rise, in which no one hacks off their own limbs.
No, but limbs get hacked off.
Which is a minor spoiler, I guess.
Yeah, we're getting into spoilers soon, because we're already, like, kind of like...
I'd say, fuck it, let's jump into spoilers, because we've been here for 27 minutes.
Already? Time's flying by.
Time is flying by.
Oh my god, we're into spoilers.
So I will say, if we haven't said it already, we have done a whole series covering everything Evil Dead. We've covered all 4 movies, all 3 seasons of the show. Mm-hmm. Didn't cover the game. Didn't have time, really.
The game's fun.
The game is... We have not really been a gamer podcast, even though we could cover the game someday.
Yeah, we could play the game. You do that. Let us know if you want that.
Everybody play the game. Let's just gush our little hearts out.
Yeah, we've been waiting.
So... when we get past the amazing title card, we jump to one day prior, and we've got Ellie with her greasy...
Beth.
There's Beth peeing on a stick in the bathroom, for sure. That does happen. And she may or may not be pregnant. But, since we're already in spoilers, she's pregnant.
Yeah, she's, like, in this, like, punk bar, like a dive bar or whatever.
And she's not a groupie, she's a guitar tech.
Yeah.
Show some respect, people.
Honestly, because she's just, like, telling this guy where everything is already, which I was a stage manager for theater productions in high school. Like, I understand. I get her frustration.
And within the span of a few hours, I guess she hops on a plane and gets to LAX and gets to the high rise, which is the double meaning that we didn't explain. It's called Evil Dead Rise because they're in a high rise.
And it's also the rise of a whole Evil Dead.
A new Evil Dead trilogy?
No, it totally is. But we can't show you, but we left Evil Dead and I voice recorded our first reactions. I had like a Charlie Day moment. I was like, this is it. This is the first part. This is the first part about like a whole issue and then they're all gonna get together. But anyways, she's like, oh shit. She like, looks at her test.
Oh shit, I might have a little baby in my tummy.
A little groupie baby.
A little guitar tech baby. Show some respect.
Well, I mean, like the baby would technically be a groupie until born. Cause just joining around for the ride.
That's not a bad point at all. That's big brain shit right there.
I know, thank you.
But somehow after she gets off, she hops off a plane
Could be close.
LAX, and she goes to see her sister Ellie, and Ellie is dyeing her hair. She's got this
The tattoo artist.
Yes, there's no terrible slang word for tattoo artists such as groupie. She's just a tattoo artist, which is a more respected profession, I guess. She's dyeing her hair red, which is great because
I loved her hair in this.
yeah, she's got all the the smudging, the sort of grimy, wet, just red dye on her scalp, which evokes blood before blood even enters the equation.
What I will say is, like, this is a pretty tight movie. It's 90 minutes, I believe. And, they did such a great job for establishing this family and, like, their dynamics and, like, making you see, like, yourself in them in a way and care about them, like, right off the bat.
Yeah.
No time wasted in this.
Absolutely. I immediately like all the characters, maybe except Ellie.
Okay.
We'll get into that later, maybe.
Really?
Or maybe we can get into it now. So you've got this testy relationship between Ellie and Beth. They're, like, slightly estranged. There's clearly some beef that's been going on.
We have the same issue with Ellie, but go on. I wonder if we have the same thing that I was that stood out to me every time. I was like, come on, Elle.
Say your thing.
So, like, Ellie is introduced, and you see this family, and, like, once everyone gets to dinner, Beth's there, gives the cool aunt present, and realizes that the dad's gone. And Elle is like, I called you 2 times. I'm like, you can send a text. Listen, I completely understand being upset that your sister didn't pick up. I don't know how they communicate, but, like, you can send a text and just be like, hey, listen, I know you might be, like, busy. She calls her groupie, your groupie stuff, even though she's a guitar tech.
Guitar tech. Show some respect.
Honestly, though, she could have been like, hey, I need you to call me when you can because something really big happened, instead of leaving a voicemail.
After seeing the way that Ellie interacts with her kids, which is sort of like a passive sort of, not neglectful, but basically she's in her own little world doing her tattoo stuff while her kids are, existing around her, and Bridget's like, Mom, I need help. I'm going to the Labor Day protest. So this takes place in apparently September 2023, because that's when Labor Day is. I'm just going to kind of jump to the point. I think as far as Ellie and Beth are concerned, Ellie is the problem.
Okay, yeah.
Beth is really great with the kids.
Yeah.
She is so good with the kids. You've got that line where Cassie says to her, you're going to be a really good mom someday, and says, because you know how to lie to kids, which it sort of implies that Ellie is a big liar to her kids. That's sort of a big assumption I took from it, but I feel like maybe Ellie lies to her kids a lot, and even the youngest, Cassie, is wise enough to understand that her mom's a fucking liar.
See, I took it a completely different way.
Say more.
Yeah, I took it as like a, whenever you are an adult in a situation that, like, you have to make it easier for kids to understand. You have to give some kind of comfort. Mm-hmm. You have to deliver it in a way that might have pieces of the truth and still gets the message across, but ultimately is a way that they can understand.
Yeah.
As a way of comfort. And I feel like it was Cassie saying, in her way of being able to say that you're great at comforting kids in hard situations.
There is that. Good things that parents have to do, yes.
Because, like, I didn't take it as like a Easter bunny or like a tooth fairy thing. It's just like when things get really tough, you're really good at, like, keeping that hope. You're good at being a sister.
But Cassie is just sort of wise beyond her years.
Dude, that kid is great.
Cassie is such a fun character.
Yeah.
And since we're already in spoilers, I love that she is one of the final girls.
I was concerned. I love this. The first time we watched this, they kept introducing kids. And I leaned over to you. I'm like, there are just a lot of kids that kind of have to kill in this movie.
This is the first Evil Dead movie of 5 movies to have kids at all.
Yeah. And they just, like, the first, let's see, outside of Elle and, like, Beth, the first, 4 or 5 characters are children.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just had a pit in my stomach. Because like, they're not going to have that many survivors in this.
That's what I love about this movie, is that it gets so much more personal than any of the other movies.
Yeah.
I think Evil Dead 4 tried to be personal by trying to be about something. It was trying to be about drug addiction. Mia was addicted to drugs, and it seemed like maybe the demons were supposed to be like a metaphor for that, or vice versa. And I think what Evil Dead Rise did was actually exploring the relationship between a person and their deadite.
You know, I really do think that you could apply a message to this too, as far as like generational trauma or toxic families, how they kind of they can like morph into one, and you have to stand on your own against that.
Yeah.
In a way, I do see that. I do see themes, but I do feel like, as far as like literal brutality in your face, I understand why people might miss a few things from the Evil Dead 4. But for me, I feel like, especially, you know, after our last watch, I really do feel like this, for me personally, this felt more brutal. I'm not saying like friendship can't be family to people, because I understand that personally, but for this and the stage they set, it felt more brutal with each person that was knocked off, with each person that became a deadite. It felt a lot more brutal. It felt a lot more gruesome and personal than the first one.
Exactly.
It didn't feel super personal to me with 4. Even I love 4. It didn't feel personal to me outside of Mia. Does that make sense?
For sure. David was definitely like a milquetoast character.
Yeah.
Which is a Bruce Campbell word. He called Ash in the first movie a milquetoast person. Which is
he was totally,
spelled with a Q, by the way.
Milk toast.
It's milquetoast.
French, ooh.
Milquetoast. Baguette.
I feel like that even though it was very quick, it used great, it had great use of its time with establishing everything. And you know, you're able to quickly connect with like what these characters are about, and like they feel fleshed out a bit more than like friends in a cabin, to be like locked into this high rise with your family, and like there's family issues going on already on top of what's happening in this movie. It definitely felt a lot more personal. And even though I feel like the gore was not as in your face, I still had a more visceral reaction to it.
Yeah, because the movie takes its time in the first act establishing the characters, establishing their relationship to each other, and why we should care about them.
Yeah.
Which is a pitfall of many like short 90-minute movies. To me, a 90-minute movie is short. It just is.
It is. It's shorter in the movies. If it's like 60 minutes, I don't.
Yeah. So the movie is a very tight 90 minutes.
It is.
But it does so well at establishing those characters and why we should care about them, to the point to where it does start knocking them off. You care. And it also takes its time in transforming Ellie into a deadite.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you brought it up.
Which is something we haven't seen before, especially in Ash vs. Evil Dead. Basically, someone becomes a deadite and it's just like an immediate transformation. And I don't find that interesting.
Yeah. With Elle, for me, already top tier S++ deadite.
Number 1 deadite, straight up.
Yeah. It was this like...
Henrietta maybe, but...
No, I put her over Henrietta. Even if they're in the same category.
It's fair.
Yeah, I put her over Henrietta because, like, one of my favorite things that we talked about, especially after this last watch, is these moments of like internal battle that Elle had to try to fight it off. And I love that we got the perspective of someone that's becoming possessed. Hearing what they hear, seeing what they see was new. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. I haven't had a lot of sleep the last few days.
No, you're right. Because there's those little moments where she's saying, it's in me, and don't let it take my babies. Those last few moments where she's like hanging on and trying to fight this evil that ultimately she can't do anything to fight.
Yeah.
It completely takes her over. It really is so much more personal that way. I mean, think about The Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2. Ash killing Linda. It's like, oh no, it's my girlfriend. And he hooks up with Sheila the next day. Like, there's no
He
personal
went crazy
stakes to
at
that.
that point, too.
Oh, he completely lost his mind in Evil Dead 2.
But no, that's a great point because, like, even with Cassie, when Cassie flipped on the wood chipper, she was in tears.
Yeah.
She was upset about it. Mm. That tiny moments like that, it's just like, geez, this kid is covered in her family's like guts.
That's another thing I appreciate about Cassie as a final girl, is that she actually got a kill in. Like, she killed Bridget. She impaled her with Staphne.
Who's your friend, Cass?
She's called Staphne.
Oh my god, Staphne was such a great setup with like the story, and then like she was fighting with Bridget, and Bridget broke it.
The stick breaking into a spear, a horrible splintery spear.
And Staphne did protect her.
Staphne did protect her. It's bleak.
It is.
I don't think that Cassie is necessarily going to have a good life after this.
No. That isn't.
I would like to see more of Beth and Cassie, not to just jump to the end. But...
I mean, like, Beth isn't either, because she had to kill her niece, her nephew, and her sister. She didn't even know her sister and her brother-in-law broke up. So she found out that she's pregnant, and then she found out that her sister and her brother-in-law are done, and then she had to kill all of them.
It's a really brutal night of trauma for Bethy Boo.
On top of, like, dealing with the hallway and like her like whole issue with becoming a mother and being forced into it, because she's like talking to what she thinks is Elle's dead body. It's like, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm hiding pretty much. She's like, I don't know how to deal with this. And then it just got worse.
She delivers a very brutal line.
I can't believe I'm never gonna speak to you again.
Oh my god. And then
that shit hurted.
I know, because she was talking about how, like, for her, Elle was, like, the person that, like, she looked up to in one way or other, even though, like, Elle was... I mean, yeah, no, totally. I totally think that, even though Elle kind of called her a groupie to even the neighbors, she looked up to her.
You've got that character, his character's name is Bruce, which I didn't even figure out till the third time we watched it, but you got the old redneck,
with his cat, and the cat survived, by the way. Lee.
Good to meet you. Such a weird, ominous line he delivers. He just goes, good to meet you.
Honestly, it's accurate. I've met dudes like that in like my various jobs. Like, yeah, it checks out.
I don't know. You think that there's going to be some connection between Bruce and Beth when he says that. And I would say they didn't necessarily deliver on that, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. They announced a slew of side characters of the neighbors, and then they were just meat puppets, including the kids.
You got little Cheeto boy. Hey,
we're going to we're going to watch all the Freddy movies.
Even the shitty ones. There are no shitty ones.
Relatable. Me and Scream.
Let's talk about the Necronomicon.
It's not cons.
What?
Necronomicons? There's more than one.
Yes. Let's talk about the 3 fatal volumes of the Naturam de Monto.
So, I'm just going to go into my theory.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go straight into it.
Say more.
I will say a lot.
Go on.
It's going to be way too much for you to edit. So, initially, as soon as we got it out theater, I recorded myself. I'm like, this is a start of a new issue, like a whole, like, a bigger issue than we see in, like, the individual times where they defeated the Necronomicon. Like, all right, it's over, wow. Because they didn't this time. This is the first time in the Evil Dead movie that was unresolved, and it got passed on to another person, and it continued. So this is going to spread. This is going to keep going. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is going to go far enough for people who are far too familiar with this kind of situation to see and pick up on. Personally, I deeply believe that. I also deeply believe that we're starting a big story arc here. This is the birth, the start, the rise of a new era of Evil Dead. Completely new.
I want to believe. However, if our theory is true, Evil Dead 4 was actually the start of our new Evil Dead era.
Incorrect, because Mia defeated the Abomination.
Oh, well, sure,
And
yeah.
and in this one it was unresolved. So this would be the start.
I think what I'm hinting at is the sort of big crossover team up thing that we want to happen, which involves Ash, Mia, Beth, Cassie.
And whoever endures the next book.
Yes.
There's one more book we need to go through.
That's the thing, is that in the record that Danny plays, someone says this is one of 3 fatal volumes of the Naturom de Monto. So, it is first referred to as that instead of Necronomicon Ex Mortis in Evil Dead 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you've got that one. You've got the new one, which is also called Naturom de Monto. Mm-hmm. I like to believe that the 3rd volume is not Necronomicon Ex
Nope.
Mortis.
Absolutely not.
I want to believe that Lee Cronin is going to come back and direct Evil Dead 6, and it's going to be another standalone story.
Like I said a million times, this stuck out to me the first time we watched it. He pans up to a 5 at the very end when Jessica is going out to the garage, the parking garage. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like that's so deliberate. That's so, like, specific. I don't think he would do that for no reason. I personally believe 1 minimum, more, but possibly 2. 1 dedicated to a 3rd book, and then another dedicated to the unresolved issue with this released demon that happened to Rise because it passed on to Jessica without a book involved.
Yeah.
So that has to be resolved, and there's 1 more book left.
Yeah, no resolution to Jessica's story.
Yeah, Jessica's body meat puppet survived that.
Yeah, she rose out of the lake.
Yeah.
And even though it happens at the beginning of the movie, that is the end of the story.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It is the beginning of a whole new arc, and I'm very excited because I just said this like 5 minutes ago, but it really is the first unresolved Evil Dead movie, and that's great.
Before this movie came out, we were hoping for just one final movie, a 6th one that teams up all the survivors and is led by Ash. But
that's too soon. That doesn't make sense.
We love this movie so much, and we love Lee Cronin's directorial style, that we want another one with him because Bruce Campbell said that he will not come back and do another one unless Sam Raimi is directing it.
Raimi, please.
I'll give you that Sam Raimi has to direct the last one, but if that's the case...
Wilmer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is such a thing I didn't expect to say a month ago. This movie would not have benefited from Ash.
No, I fully agree. Because I feel like that to establish that these books are out there and other people are encountering it besides the chosen one is so important. And not only that other people can survive and not defeat it because it's unresolved, outside of the chosen one is also important.
The world building is strong with this one.
It really is. I will say I love the use of records in this because the first one he had tapes, and this one Danny had to play the record backwards in a specific.
But Danny had to play it faster because
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna mansplain a little here. There's 3 speeds of records. There's 33, 45, and 78. Danny's record player only did 33 and 45, but this is an old record, and old records only played at 78 speed, and they basically only had like 1 track on them, like 1 song in theory, but it was just an audio recording, which brings me to another point.
What a nerd.
I don't know if this is something, but the first record, number 1, has the date of November 1923, which 23 is exactly 100 years ago.
Yep.
However, the second record is labeled January 1923, which means it was recorded before the first record. I don't know if that's something.
Ooh, that's a great point.
But it's a great way to mention the vocal cameo from Bruce Campbell, which Lee Cronin himself said it could be Ash, which means it's Ash.
It really blew my expectations out of the water for like the cameo we were looking for, to have his voice and know that Ash has had his time travel woes.
And in case you didn't catch it, he's saying something like...
it's called The Book of the Dead for a reason.
Exactly. To us, that is Ash time traveling.
Yeah, no, it is. That's not even to us. That is Ash in another time travel shenanigan issue. And he's trying to stop it, and this dude's like, nah, it'll be fine. And it wasn't.
I feel like Lee Cronin really sort of like wormed his way into the franchise. Like he got one movie secured and used it to completely revamp and reopen the franchise.
That's what I absolutely love, because you can see remnants of Raimi, specifically in the hallway when Elle is choking on an eyeball and spits it out into the brothers.
That's an Evil Dead 2 moment.
That's so Raimi. But it was still Lee's Raimi.
Yeah. My one little nitpick is I feel like in the opening sequence, Cronin is trying to subvert a little too much of the Raimi-isms. You've got the opening drone shot with like the studio titles and stuff, and then basically it turns out it's actually within the story a drone.
I don't think he was doing it too much, because like it sets up like the era really well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it sets up the difference between a drone shot and like our Raimi
bicycle shot,
demon cam shot so well. Yeah, because like at first it's too polished. If that makes sense, like the demon vision too polished, and I like that. I like that it's like at first, like, oh no, oh my god, it's a demon, but it's a little bit off. But it's like, no, it's just a rich dude with a drone.
For me, it just doesn't work as well, because when I see that sort of winding camera track, I want to believe that is an evil spirit about to take over someone. And so it kind of just feels like a fake out, which I'm not a big fan of fake outs.
That's valid.
Especially with like a jump scare. And this is more of a tangent, because it doesn't
Oops, all tangents.
With jump scares, I like a jump scare that really follows through.
Yes,
I
do agree.
want one where it's like, boom, made the audience jump, and it's just like a dog barking.
I fully agree, even though the one in Megan still gets me, even though we've seen it like 4 times now.
Yeah, I think it was the first jump scare in Megan is a dog jumping. That one got me all Did we watch that 3? Ugh, we watched that 3 times.
We love Megan.
I think the 3rd time was one too many.
I already told you one of my favorite jump scares when she's like, Betty Boo, bleh. Yeah. That was great. That was so amazing. I don't know why that part my brain loves it. I
told you to put the book back, Danny. I love that line.
Yeah, you should have put the book back, Danny. And like when she called the kids titty suckers.
You titty sucking parasites.
I honestly though, that's what I love about this, because you know, in 2013 it really did feel like Mia was the only Deadite that even really spoke. Did the other Deadites even speak?
No. Not that I remember.
In this one, they were like little menaces. Yeah. All of them, across the board. We got our Dead by Dawn chant, which really resonated with me, because this is like the sequel to the next
That
era.
Was like a good punch in the heart.
I think I like punched your shoulder while we
that
watched
made
it
us
for the
happy.
first time. I was like losing my mind when they were chanting Dead by Dawn.
That made us very happy.
Yeah, this one really did feel like it kept the spirit of the Deadite across all Deadites.
It had its like fan service moments, which, as Jayla would say, the fans deserve to be serviced. Oh, God. That's what she said, right?
I did. Yes, I didn't say that.
She said something like that.
No, that's...
I am not one to complain about fan service. As a fan, I like to be serviced.
What I liked about this is that it is established that no matter where you are, the same rules apply without feeling overt, feeling heavy-handed, I should say. Like, you had the elevator vines, you had the no way out with the broken stairwell versus the bridge. The same rules apply no matter where you are. However, the book adapts to your location, and I love that.
Well, there is actually a subversion of the rules, because in the recordings on the vinyl records, the priest or whoever is saying, I tried chopping up my friends and that didn't help. I tried burning my friends and that didn't help.
Whoa.
And I tried live burial and it didn't help.
Yeah, so thank you for saying that. That goes into my other theory.
The rules have changed.
The rules haven't just changed, but it establishes that each book follows different rules, and my belief is that each book summons a different demon. So you had the Abomination, you had the Cronenberg. I in this one, and then the third one,
the body horror, like
they're
John Carpenter's The Thing amalgam
Yeah.
of Bridget, Danny, and Ellie.
Yeah, exactly. And it had its own rules of like even being open for this one. So the third one will have a new demon that is summoned and a new set of rules and behaviors as well, outside of just being like little menaces, which I loved personally.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. I like that each book, it allows it to have its own design, its own tone, as well as its own big in-game monster. I think that's brilliant. Whoever came up with that, brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
It was probably Lee Cronin. It was like
Thank you, Lee.
singularly written and directed by Lee Cronin.
I've been tweeting you since you started filming this, and I appreciate you.
We love this movie a lot.
I know. I'm just super excited. I'm super excited to see directors who are a bit... I wouldn't say Lee is super new, but more new.
It's only his second feature.
Yeah, it's a second feature. Exactly. To take this on and be able to make it his own while also fitting so beautifully into this universe.
Exactly.
Because it's so easy to overcorrect either way. It's so easy to just do like Raimi light, and it's so easy to go so far from where you start that it feels like it's just not where it should be. Cloverfield, for example, has had that issue, and it's just really refreshing to see a horror franchise be so consistent. I'm not used to that, and I love horror. I'm a defender of horror as a genre. I've had this rant a million times of how it's so underrated and underappreciated, and it's like before it even gets a chance, it's looked down on, which is true because I have plenty of examples. So to have this franchise be so consistent and still find a way, like to this day, to revamp itself and feel refreshing while still like progressing in its own way is just phenomenal, amazing, wonderful, spectacular, ultimate, superior.
I would say
Spider-Man.
it's consistently good. I wouldn't say that the third entry is really consistent with the rest. But I've done all my shitting on Army of Darkness that I'm going to do, which is to
Listen.
say none, because it's valid.
Listen. It is the most consistent horror franchise.
Sure.
No, there's no sure about it.
No, I'm going to argue. I'm going to make one big argument.
Go for it.
I would say
Are you going to say it?
it's not a franchise.
Okay, what are you going to say?
It is like one movie split into two parts.
Fair. That's go ahead.
Whether it be the 90s version or the new version, it's one movie split into two parts. Another tangent, I won't watch it chapter 1 or 2 without the other. To me, it's just one movie.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Even though the two movies are very different.
It's an Infinity Game situation almost, but I can watch Infinity Game.
Yeah, Infinity, which is what we call Infinity War and Endgame.
Because it's one big spectacle.
Oh, the most consistent horror franchise is Scream, because all 6 movies are the same.
No, they're no. I'm not taking the bait. I'm not taking the bait.
I don't want this to turn into a fight. I just had to say it.
We're going to brawl.
We can talk about it later. We're pushing over an hour.
We're going to go to WWE. I feel like we haven't even talked about all the stuff I want to talk about Evil Dead.
Well, the cheese grater was very overmarketed. It's not even it's not even a killer.
However, this last watch, I feel like it's not. In a way. Because I appreciate suggestion in horror. And I appreciate when they use... Because, like, whatever your mind makes up is going to be tailored to you. And whatever your mind makes up is going to be way scarier than anything, like, anyone can put on the screen. Mm-hmm. And also this time, I noticed the skin bits coming out of the cheese grater.
Ooh, I didn't even notice that little detail.
That's why I was like, oh, no, this isn't oversold. I feel like if they went full on, it's kind of like graded it would have not fit in well with everything else. Because there's a lot of power of suggestion. I think that's a great tool for any horror director or writer. And to be able to use your actual moments of, like, the moments you actually highlight, it makes it even stronger. Like, the glass throat bit.
Ooh, that's a good bit. I like that a lot.
I still can't do it. And it freaks me out. It makes me upset. You were like, no, I totally get it. I want to chew on glass. And I'm like...
Yeah, I think that's something Serenity and I were agreeing on, was that we understand the desire to chew glass. It's not to say that we have the desire to chew glass, but if you have the desire to chew glass, we get it. We get it.
We don't get it. Because it's funny, because you've definitely given me trouble for chewing on ice before.
What?
You totally have.
Maybe for crunching loudly?
What's for... What? No.
I don't understand what you're saying.
You've bullied me for munching on ice.
Not bully you, just maybe some gentle ribbing. But I used to have a foster sister who, like, ate ice all the time. It was just like a quirk. I'm not bullying you.
Yeah, totally.
I don't bully Jayla.
Oh, sure.
We have playful banter and gentle ribbing.
He totally doesn't bully me.
Thank you. I needed that on the record.
But anyways.
Looked at the camera a little too long just now. Okay, I only have 2 bits left in my notes that...
Okay.
Or 3. I just want to say
Let your bits fly.
that every performance in this movie from every character is 100% committed. Props to every member of the on-screen talent.
Yeah. I swore that I saw Bridget before this. That's how natural she felt.
Bridget feels very real. Bridget feels like someone I know.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. I fully
Yeah.
agree. We already mentioned how Ellie was just so great as even like her body movements. Like whenever she first turns and she's like kind of swinging in the doorway and she like walks over and like starts cracking the eggs. Great. The mommies with the maggots now line. Great.
You didn't catch that in like Twitter promoting, did you?
I
saw that on Twitter beforehand and wished I hadn't.
Literally, before we went live, is the first time I've been on Twitter since September of last year.
Props to you. I only do it to promote the pod.
You have been the only one between the two of us on Twitter.
I do love that line. Mommy is with the maggots now.
Mommy's with the maggots now.
The titty sucker line was great. She's like, I'm free.
Titty sucking parasites.
Yeah, I'm free of all you titty sucking parasites. Should have put the book back, Danny.
Yeah.
That was great. Everyone did a great job, like you said. I fully agree.
So Alyssa Sutherland gives the most committed Deadite performance as Ellie.
Yes.
And Lily Sullivan gives a very committed performance as Beth. And I love the determination this character has, because when Cassie realizes that Beth is pregnant, she asks, "Are you going to be a mom?" And this is like the big main character moment for Beth. You know, she's got this determination in her face and she says, "Yes."
And we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah. This is the moment when she becomes a complete badass and decides that we're surviving this fucking movie. You and me, little Cassie, we are surviving this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like from when she first was talking to what she thought was her sister's dead body to that exact moment. She was like, I have to step up. And I love the now we're on the subject. I love when Elle was like, 2 souls?
2 souls?
I don't know, the delivery on that line was great. It was like, oh.
In a way, there are 3 final girls. What? Oh, this is another random, totally ridiculous thought I had.
I love it.
What if this is a prequel to the whole series?
Well,
let me explain.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
What if her spawn is Ash? It's the most ludicrous theory I have, but I'm going to roll with it.
That she had a cell phone.
Oh, yeah, they have smartphones. Okay, it's alternate universe
I would have
Ash.
loved that, though.
That wasn't even like my final bit. I have one last final bit. I think
the next chosen one is her baby.
She has got to give birth to that baby in the next movie. Like, I would like another standalone story. However, I want more Beth and Cassie, and I want to see her give birth to this baby because, as we know from like A Quiet Place, giving birth during a really fucked up situation is a very interesting thing to do within a movie.
I'm sorry.
I love a main character giving birth in just the absolute worst scenario possible, and I want to see Beth give birth. Not like down there. I'm not trying to like watch a birthing video.
No, I thought you were asking about seeing.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't think I was saying that.
I don't think you had the. I wasn't thinking about that until too clarified. Now I'm questioning everything. But
Go on.
my question was, what is your ideal setting for the next
That's a great
encounter
question.
with the book?
Because for a bunch of movies, we've had A Cabin in the Woods. One time we got Medieval Times, which was weird and interesting. This time we took it out of the cabin in the woods and we went into the city.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see a Deadite situation take place in somewhere other than a cabin in the woods, ignoring Ash versus Evil Dead. I guess they got to go to space for the last one.
No, we're not going Jason X quite yet. You can do Suburbia.
Or Fast and Furious 9.
No.
That's just an idea I had just now. I was going to pose this question to you. I don't actually have... I guess they could go into a snowy mountain setting. They could do Hoth.
Yes, they could do that. I would love that. I feel like a Deadite in the snow would be really cool. I feel like you could do a cruise ship really well.
Ooh.
I think a cruise ship would be pretty interesting. Because, like, you're in the middle of, like, nothing.
I would say what the cabin in the woods and the high-rise apartment have in common is that, in theory, they're forcing the characters into a situation
Yes.
where it is a deeply personal and interpersonal encounter.
Yes.
And I think that's where this movie really hit the nail on the head. And I think if they did another situation in which it was forcing the main characters into a secluded environment where they had to deal with their actual demons, that would work. Maybe just a suburban home. Maybe do the Purge one.
Hear me out.
Go on.
I'm taking a page
Say more.
from Infinity Pool, but like a resort that's about to close. Like a summer resort that's kind of like decrepit. They got a great deal on it because it's like this last season. Mm-hmm. And it's about to close. Like this family is going there because they want to try and have like a nice home vacation. That's all they can afford. The kids go out to like see and explore an area that's like roped off. They're not supposed to.
Maybe have like the main character and their Deadite relative like fighting on a beach, but no one else is around.
Exactly.
Like
this is like
I hate old.
This is like a place that is like run down. They got a discount on the discount. It's the last time they're going to be open.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
If
Lee Cronin, pay me.
If they take it to space, I'm honestly not going to complain. I know it's fucking ludicrous, but it wouldn't be the first time.
We're not... It's not the first time they took Ludacris to space.
Not that it's not even the first time they took Ludacris to space. Oh my god.
Jinx.
Tyrese Gibson fighting Deadites?
But no, that would work really well.
It's all about family.
Stop. I am a sucker for a good like snowy area. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You could do a ski resort.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I guess just anything that continues to subvert the cabin in the woods trope, which Evil Dead started.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I just like the idea of like these places that you're supposed to feel peace or serenity at. Serenity. And
Ooh, a prison.
Ooh.
I think
Ooh.
maybe like a person who actually has like a good buddy relationship with his cellmate or something.
Bill Hader. A hospital? They can do...
Sure, but I feel like we've gotten a lot of zombies in a hospital.
I feel like Deadites are too different from zombies. I know there's comparisons.
Of course.
They're just so different. There's not... this is the most Deadites we've seen on screen at once.
I didn't even realize that because that's how intimate this movie felt.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was the biggest crowd of Deadites we had saved for Ash versus.
Yeah, but even then...
and not counting the boneheads.
Yes. We were talking about how this was unresolved with Jessica. There's Deadites are very alive on the top floor.
You know, considering Danny never got the needle off the record, what if the turntable continues to be saying the chants and summoning more demons? Because it seems that the audio recording controls the pages of the book, and maybe it's continually summoning demons into the building, which could change when they knock down the building.
I don't want to ruin your theory here.
Go ahead.
But Beth was listening to the third The third
Okay.
one, when Ellie was like, "Arr!" and it's like, oh, all innocence is going to be dead, murdered, burned alive. Because the words were on the second one.
Ooh, I want Evil Dead 6 to open with the demolishing of the building,
Ooh, yeah.
which is a movie that has not even been confirmed
What
to
are
be happening.
other secluded areas? We have like a cruise ship, we have a prison, we have a desolate vacation spot. The desert?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of the rules because like exits and like all the exits entrances are destroyed whenever you read from the book.
All the what?
All like the ways to get out are destroyed when you read the book. That is something that's been established, like with the bridge in the original trilogy, or with the stairwell in this one.
I didn't even think about the book actually doing that, like destroying the bridge. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what it is. It was the whatever happens after you read the book, you can't get out. You are locked into wherever area you're in. So there has to be a scenario where they can be trapped there once they read the book. Like the flood from the fourth one, the bridge was destroyed in the original trilogy. The stairwell was destroyed in this one as well as the elevator was destroyed. And you had the vines. The vines go from trees to wires in the elevator. So that's another element that I'm keeping in mind because those are rules.
Okay, yeah.
And
that's cool.
Bruce, yeah, that's my favorite bits. That's why I was talking about how this is very much Evil Dead, but it is its own thing. It keeps the same rules and it keeps the same elements, but it's still completely new. And Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, there's already been confirmed that there's like this basically Evil Dead Bible that they're creating for the rules of how to make an Evil Dead movie is what he's doing right now, or he has done. If it's a mountain, it could be an avalanche.
Sure. And then it's like a double survival thing where they're like fighting frostbite.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no escape.
There is no escape.
Dead by dawn.
Dead by dawn. They're going to swallow your souls. There's another thing we got.
I will swallow your soul. That was a great delivery of an iconic line.
And we had Henrietta's Pizza, whose tagline is "Come get some," and then Beth says "Come get some," which I turn into a giggly little schoolgirl anytime I hear that line.
So much fan service. We fans are getting serviced. I've got one more bit.
One more bit.
No, it's not a bit. It's just...
I have a million bits.
I guess it's actually a nitpick.
Oh, you're going to get nitpicky?
We have points, we have nitpicks, and we have bits.
And tangents.
And tangents. That's what we do here. That's like our 4 core things.
You never know what we're going to talk about on a single episode.
My final... I'm going to call it a point, not a nitpick.
Okay.
You've got Ellie with the tattoo needle about to go into Bridget's eye. And Bridget deflects and the needle starts scratching her face. And then later her face gets infected and you've got the black like...
Because Ellie scratched her blood first and then...
Yeah. I think they could have just gone for the eye. I don't know if that would have pushed them into NC-17 or something, but I think it would have been a much cooler visual if Ellie had really fucked up Bridget's eye and then the black infected veins kind of sprawled out of her empty eye socket.
I do agree. It would have been an amazing visual, but I do respect them not wanting to just repeat 2014 big moments, because like the needle from the eye was in all the trailers and that was huge.
I don't mean like Evil Dead 4 where it's just like a syringe needle going to the eye. I mean a vibrating, inky needle like utterly blasting this eye and like making it bleed, and you have all this like real black shit in your eye, all this goop. I don't really know what it is.
Ink?
No, I mean in your eye.
Yeah, that it would be tattooing, because that's like...
No, I don't mean tattooing. I mean your eyes, my eyes, our eyes.
If she
have black goop in them.
Yeah, but if she like tattooed her eye, it was like...
It would be a mix of
tattooing and
black goop.
Yes.
Which, I mean, she had like black goopy blood leak out of her eyes anyway.
Which I love that was her, because like, I mean, I don't love seeing teenagers die. But I love that, like, that's, like, how it affected her, because she got infected through a tattoo needle, and she had the black goop, and I feel like that's a great connection for me. I agree. I would love that visual. However, I do like the, like, suspension of, like, safety it gave us, that she just got grazed on the cheek, so you think Bridget's fine. I feel like if it was the eye, it would have been more urgent, immediately so. So you have this moment where you're like, okay, Bridget's fine. They're not gonna kill the kids. Pfft, it's fine. And then like Bridget turns and it has like all the ink going from her eyes and her mouth and her nose, and it's kind of like this like oh no moment from where for me it's like this oh no moment, because if it was the eye, I feel like it would have been more like immediate, you knew. But yeah, I feel like going for the cheek kind of gave audiences a bit of safety.
Have I mentioned that I love that Cassie actually got a kill in? And I definitely have mentioned this, but I think that she is as equal a final girl as Beth.
Oh, for sure. I never wanted to just like jump through the screen and hug a child more than Cassie, because Cassie already established how she hated being underwater, and then she has this look of pure despair whenever the elevator is filling up with blood, just like pure terror.
I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah.
The third time we watched it, I noticed in the scene with the bathtub, I was like, okay, she's afraid of like being immersed in water. How's that going to pay off? Didn't even make the connection.
Yeah, so not only does she have to go underwater, but it's blood, and also she realizes that her family's dead. Her whole family's dead. Which also, Ellie, you told your kids never take an elevator after a quake, and what did you do? And look where it got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my awful John Wick. Yeah, that was not even accurate.
Yeah.
John Wick versus Deadites.
That would be cool.
Oh my god.
I'll take it. But that's all my bits. Is that all your bits?
For now, but like I might drag you to do one more talk about it after the first watch. So yeah, I know you're no.
The fourth watch.
The fourth watch. I know you're no. This is it. I'm like,
I am genuinely excited to see this a fourth time.
exactly why I feel like we should watch it a fourth time and immediately record as soon as we're home. Say yes. He's gonna say yes.
I'm cutting this because I'm not going to commit to that.
He's going to say yes anyways. He's not committing to it, but he's going to say yes.
This is an hour and 26.
Yeah. So, like, it's fine because people love Evil Dead. And I think that if there's something we're excited to talk about right after we see it, we should just do it and post it anyways. Because fuck it. Who cares?
Fuck it. Who cares? Well, if you made it through all this and you like what we said and you like our vibe here, give us a like on YouTube and give us a subscribe, and you can catch all our future episodes, and tell your friends. Word of mouth helps, including word of internet mouth.
Or word of ancient record mouth.
Yeah, no, if you can take a recording of our podcast and press it onto vinyl and give it to your hipster vinyl friends.
Yes.
Which, if you knew us, it would be us.
You would totally play that vinyl.
I would.
You would totally. Oh no, I want to see what's up on this. I'm like,
Kanda.
now I'm thinking more stuff. Damn it, Cam.
All right, get your last bit in.
I just really liked how they updated the reading, because in the first one, it was.
Professor Nobi?
No, it was Ash's friend.
Oh, Scotty.
Scotty was like, no, I'm gonna play this. Even though like everyone was like kind of freaked out, but this time Danny immediately knew this is wrong. There's something not right going on. Even though the book only opened when it got his blood on it, and he tried to stop it, but he couldn't. Like once it started, it was too late. I just like that like tidbit of like there's no going back. Once like you like it just has a bigger trap to it, I guess. Like there's not an RJ situation. It's just like
RJ being Eric from Evil Dead 4. We've gotten so up our own asses in referring to him as RJ from Ty West X that we actually think of him as RJ now, but
oh my god,
his name is Eric.
There's no Eric situation where he just keeps going. It's like I messed up and I can't stop it. That just changes it for me.
So like, subscribe, tell your friends, and follow us on Twitter at Last Scare.
Yes. Oh, or also Cheese Stick Rack and Last Scare.
And Last Scare.
Both. Follow both.
At Last Scare. At Cheese Stick Rack.
Yes. So I guess this isn't the end to the Road to Rise, because just like our favorite in the whole wide world, we'll be right back.
I'll be right back.